Alright, can I run to the bathroom real quick?
The time's wrong. Can you fix it? If you can, it's okay.
Hello?
What's wrong? Oh, you got it. Hold on. Did you calibrate it? You got to calibrate it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I don't know how long it's gonna take, so we're gonna go quick. And if we get done early, we get done early, and you have a little bit longer break. And if we don't, we'll cut it off. But one of the things that we wanted to do is kind of show off Grant. Okay, we wanted to show off some of the things that went on in your trips, maybe for next year, just kind of a recap of what happened. And you'll notice when your pictures come up, some of the things are really cool, stuff like that. But we have one representative from each group that are going to talk about each one of their trips. And they're going to introduce themselves the first time, but after that, from there on out, they will just kind of talk about their trip. So each one of them will do a question, and then a second question, a third question, okay? All right, I'm going to open us up with a word of prayer. God, we love you. We thank you for this opportunity. We can gather together. We can recap on the things you did in the lives of our students as they went and the lives of the people they touched. God, I pray that you move here, even now. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. We are going to start to my right with Miss Davis. All right. I'm going to read the first question. Shh. I'm going to read the first question, and then they're going to answer it based on their trip. They're going to tell their trip and their answer. What was your favorite part of the trip, and what do you think the group would say would be the favorite part of the trip that you guys were a part of? Mm-hmm.
So I went to London and Paris, and I liked London better, and I really liked the Tower of London because the crown jewels were there, and like this is where Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard were beheaded. So I thought that was interesting, and I think the group overall like really liked London better. And also, the two shows we saw, Les Mis and A Witness for the Prosecution, were like some of my favorite things that my friends liked there.
Cool. Caleb?
I have one camera, just remember.
Hey, I'm Kayla. I went to DC,
Just from
and my
one
favorite
camera,
part was
just from-
probably the Capitol tour from Congressman Moore.
That's what the people
He took
wanna
us
see.
on the
That's what they wanna
House
see.
floor, which was so cool to see, and like know that all these presidents from like since Abraham Lincoln have been in the same spot, just like 2 feet away from you, and many like political figures. So that was super cool. I think a lot of people in our group loved that tour, and we got to see like a beautiful view of DC, and then we went to the mall one night and then hanging out in the hotel lobby at night. Everybody loved doing that.
Hey, I'm Rowan, and I went on the Honduras trip. My favorite part was definitely getting to play with the kids that were in the village that we stayed in. I mean, they're just all so happy, and they all spoke Spanish, and I only speak English, so while we couldn't communicate directly, like even just hand motions and just smiling and nodding like meant the world to them. And I think I played more Duck Duck Goose than I played in my entire childhood combined. And I mean, I honestly think everybody would say that because we all had so much fun doing that. We learned crazy games, and yeah, it was just a good time.
Hey y'all, I'm Maddie. I think that my favorite part of the trip, I went to
Whoa.
Outreach Gaston.
There you go.
by the way. Yeah. And my favorite part was getting to see how like people come in every day and serve. So while we're here, people are there serving and like giving their time. And it was just really cool to get to see what local ministry looks like, because usually I'm overseas doing ministry. But it was really cool to get to see that. And I think the group really liked getting to serve like with their friends, which was like really cool.
Hey guys, I'm Carter. I went to New York. My favorite part of the trip was probably when we went ice skating in Central Park, because it was like such an iconic place, and like everyone loves ice skating, and none of us were that good, so that made it more fun, and it was fun to watch everybody fall. I'd say the group would say it was Wicked. That was also like really close for me. Like I'm not huge into theater, but I really loved when we saw Wicked. It was really impressive.
Hey, my name's Nathan. I did the college tour, and I think my favorite part was the campus on Western Carolina. It was just so beautiful. It's nestled up in the mountains, and there's a wonderful lake. But I think that the group's favorite part was when we went to Frankie's Fun Park.
Hey, my name's Henry, and I went to Florida. And my favorite part was the day in the Keys we spent, because it's just so beautiful down there, and we got to go on a glass boat ride, which was pretty awesome. Something I hadn't done before. And I think the group would agree. The time down there was pretty awesome. Yeah.
My name is Murr, and I went on the Dominican Republic trip. I think my favorite part was probably teaching the kids in the camp, even though they could probably teach us. And I think the group, my favorite group thing, or like the group, would be playing the games for sure. They play with a lot of energy, and it's just different.
My name's Jaden, and I also went on a Dominican trip. And my favorite part was the first day when we went to the sugarcane village, giving out food and praying for the people. And I think the group would say their favorite part was probably the baseball camp we had on the last day we were there.
Hey, I'm Colin. I was a part of the alternative trip to Myrtle Beach, and my favorite part was just working together at the service project at Impact Ministries. We lay down flooring, build bunk beds, and stuff like that. It was really fun to just be with my friends, working together on a big project. And I think as a group, we also liked walking on the beach and being outdoors. It was really nice.
Hey, my name's Cole. I went on the Man Up trip, and my favorite part was probably climbing up Crowder's Mountain. We out in nature, it's like super fun. The group probably like go-karting the best. They went pretty fast. They were cool.
Hi, my name is Tatum. I went on the Spain trip. My favorite part of the trip was getting to know my host family. I had a younger sister and an even younger brother, and I loved both of them. I also really liked getting to know her friends and playing soccer with her team, and everybody was just so nice. I think the group's favorite part, I think we would all agree that Tuesday shopping. We got to skip school. It was really fun, and go all over like downtown Madrid. So yeah.
My name's Sydney, and my favorite part of the trip
probably was going to like a Spanish school and like immersing myself into like the culture and meeting new people and
with the kids that we met at the school.
My name's Collins, and I did the Spanish trip. My favorite part was probably like just like getting to know all the kids there. It's like their lives are so different than ours with like the school and everything, so it's just so cool seeing like how they live and like what all they do. And I think that the group's favorite part, probably what like Tatum said, shopping Tuesday, and the food there was really good.
I heard y'all ate at a Taco Bell in Spain. Is this correct?
Yes.
It was not good?
No.
Well, that's depressing.
My name's Yeling. I also went on the Spain trip, and I think my favorite part was the boat ride in the Rotillo, or just like my host family took me to this royal palace one day, and I really liked that. And I think the group's favorite part would be like exploring downtown and then just shopping, I guess.
Hi, I'm Sierra. I also went on the Spain trip. And my favorite part of the trip was getting to see all the beautiful buildings that are in Europe. Their architecture is so pretty. But I think that the group's favorite part is also like what they said, the freedom to be able to explore Madrid and going shopping and eating all the good food.
My name is Bailey, and I did vocational shadowing. My favorite part of the trip was getting to be inside a preschool classroom and really like get to know the kids and be a part of getting to guide their steps that will help them for the rest of their lives. And I think the group would say that getting to explore what they thought they wanted to do would be really interesting. For some people, like for me, I loved what I did, and for some people they realized maybe it's not the job that they want, but now they know that.
Hey, I'm Jacob, and I did the Gastonia Outreach Winterim. So my favorite part was probably when we went to Crisis Pregnancy Center, and we saw all of their operation, how they were helping people like with getting materials for their children. So like there was diapers and baby food all in this huge warehouse, and we had the opportunity to help them, and that was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. So.
Hey guys, I'm Lily. I went to the Arizona trip. My favorite part of the trip was definitely the van ride that we took to Antelope Canyon and the Grand Canyon. Arizona has some of the bumpiest roads I've ever been on. As a group, I think the most fun we had, was just getting to know the teachers and students around us better. We now have little inside jokes, and we love to just spread them along the halls. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine. My favorite part I went on the alternative trip to Charleston. And probably my favorite part of the trip was going to Drayton Hall, which is like an old plantation house in Charleston. And the remarkable thing about Drayton Hall is that it's one of the oldest unrestored homes in America. And so it was built in like the 1750s, so before the American Revolutionary War. So when it was built, we were still a British colony. So it was just remarkable to be in there and to think about all the history that had occurred in that location. And, well, my group was my parents. So I'd say my parents' favorite part was getting out of downtown Charleston because they hated the traffic. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ellie, and I did an alternative trip to Hawaii. It was the island of Oahu. And definitely the favorite part of my trip was like the nature there. It was just so incredible, and I'd never seen anything like that. So yeah, definitely that. And like the culture, like learning about the Polynesian culture, I'd never like known that was there too. So I really enjoyed that.
So hi, my name is Jackson. I was on Mr. Hartley's fishing trip. So my favorite part of the trip was definitely catching my sheep's head. It was very unexpected. We were last spot of the day and one of the last few casts of the day. We caught him, and it was great. I'd say besides catching fish, the favorite part of the trip for my group was definitely the fish tacos we had that Tom Parnell made. Absolutely fantastic. Best fish tacos I've ever had.
Just hang on to it. You'll be first on the next one, okay? All right, for our next question, what was something that maybe was unexpected or a wonderful surprise about your trip?
So a wonderful surprise, other than Austin chumming the water for us, was ultimately just the fun activities we would have at night where we just hang out and had great fellowship, and also the games we'd play at night. The amount of free tackle Mr. Hartley blessed us with was so amazing and so thankful for.
For me was all the islands in the Pacific Ocean. I never knew there were so many islands there. Like, I don't know, I just learned that, and it was like over like 500 islands, like small islands. Like, I met this woman and she lived on an island with like 50 people, and that was the island that she lived on, and I just thought that was incredible.
I went on the alternative trip to Charleston once again. And something that was unexpected was we had just planned to go to like some of the churches in Charleston, but a lot of the churches were closed or under construction, so we were a little upset about that because we didn't think we'd get all of our 30 hours. But we realized there's a lot more in Charleston than just the churches, so we were able to go to more historical places, like the Dock Street Theater, like Drayton Hall, and one of the places that was interesting was the Citadel. I never thought I'd go to a place that's like literally a military training school, and it was so amazing to go there and see all the architecture. It's like a castle.
Once again, I went to Arizona, and something unexpected was that we were traveling to the Antelope Canyon tour, and it's a tour that's done by the Navajo Indians, and we were there. No, we were late, like 2 minutes, I think, so we had to wait like an hour and a half to get another tour. So instead of just waiting there, we went to the Horseshoe Canyon, which is an absolute breathtaking spot, and we got to just climb down the canyon and see the river, and it was just breathtaking.
Once again, I was on the Gaston outreach trip. So a wonderful surprise was probably, one of the things that we were processing there, so it was this big flat of these yogurt containers, and had we not processed those that day and gotten them on boxes and stuff, they probably would have expired they didn't have that many people there, so they wouldn't have gotten processed in time. So we had the ability to get those out, so yeah.
I did the vocational shadowing, and something that was an unexpected wonderful was the kids immediately connecting. I walked into the classroom thinking I'm not gonna be able to talk to these kids for probably like half the day. They don't know me, they're not gonna connect, but I walk into that classroom and there was a 3-year-old named Lucas. He immediately grabbed my hand, walked me over to the table and said, "Hey, I'm Lucas, what's your name?" And that was a really good surprise because it made me immediately relax in knowing that I could still connect with them.
I went on the Spain trip, and something that was very unexpected but was a wonderful surprise was I turned 18 while I was in Spain, and my host family threw me a surprise birthday party, which was really nice. The fact that they would do that for somebody that they just met and barely knew, it just made me so grateful for them and made me realize how sweet and kind these people are. So, yeah.
I went on the Spain trip, and like something unexpected would be that I was really nervous in the beginning to meet my host family, and then after a few days it was fine. And my little sister didn't speak any English, and I don't speak Spanish, so there was a lot of Google translating.
I did the Spain trip too, and I guess something unexpected was like I thought like at least the parents would speak any like English, but they spoke none. So it was like we were always doing like charades or something. Like the mom took
We
me out
can't
to
hear you.
breakfast. Oh, is this better?
No, I'm talking to Sydney.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I was telling Collins to tell people about the restaurant. His family had a restaurant, and we'd go there to eat. Remember?
Just like all charades. It was really weird the first day when you just like looked at them and they just like would say something to me and I'd just stare back. But like by the end of the trip, like I think we communicated pretty well.
Okay, I went to the Spain trip as well, and something that was unexpected was probably not expecting to get really close to my host family. My host family was amazing, and at first, I think all of us were like a little bit nervous, but it ended up being really amazing, and I still talk to my host sister, and I know with me and Collins, we've made some really close friends, and they're coming over this summer to stay with us, so That was probably something that was unexpected. And the English. No one speaks English. Barely anyone. My host dad spoke no English. But yeah.
Okay, I also went to Spain, and
Well, you were in Spain, but
something that was unexpected but was wonderful was going onto the trip. I had 0 friends, and I was just thinking like I'd be with my host family the whole time, like just getting to know them, but also the relationships that I built with people from GCS as well. Now I have a whole group from our school that I never thought I would ever be friends with, but now I'm so close with them all, and I'm so grateful for that.
So during Man Up, we were supposed to go to the wood shop, but there's a bunch of people filming, and they closed the wood shop. So we went around campus, learning how to like change oil on cars, and like fill up tires. And we did some archery too. It was pretty fun.
So at Myrtle Beach, when we first got there to Myrtle Beach to go work at Impact Ministries to like go renovate the 2 rooms that we were going to be working in, Todd, the organizational leader or whatever that was there, when we first met him, I thought he was going to be like super controlling or whatever, like saying like, oh, go like do this or like do that or don't do that, but stuff like that. But we actually had a lot of fun with him, and he was a great help with us, and we had a lot of fun working with him. So that was really unexpected.
While we were in the Dominican, something that was unexpected to me was like the kids that we were around. They just like they lit up when they saw us, and our presence was wonderful to them. And another thing that was unexpected was I could communicate with them a lot better than I thought I would, because I didn't really think I knew very much Spanish, but I knew how to talk at least a little bit. So I had some conversations with people.
Good job, Miss Samuel.
Definitely what Jaden said. We were kind of like celebrities to him. But another thing that surprised me was the driving. You know, they act like they had 9 lives when they drove. There was no street laws.
Something that surprised me, probably not our chaperones, but the final art museum we went to. It was like interactive and had a bunch of cool stuff that I was not expecting. So that was definitely different than what I imagined art museum could be like. So that was definitely a really cool experience.
On the college tour, the High Point people surprised us all with coupons for a free meal at the nearest Italian restaurant. Nice. So I got to have a delicious chicken parmesan for free.
Something that was unexpected in New York. One thing was that there's a lot of Starbucks in New York, and we visited a lot of them. Another thing that was unexpected was how many different languages there were. Like, we would go down to breakfast, and whoever I was eating with, like, us 2 were the only ones in the room who would speak English. So that was, like, crazy, and everybody else was speaking different languages, so it was fascinating.
So something unexpected or a wonderful surprise at Outreach Gaston was that how much work we got done together. Like, we worked together really well as a team. I think it was Miss McBee. She was talking about how what took us like 30 minutes or an hour would have taken them like 4 hours. And so it was really cool to get to serve people in that way. I went to Honduras again, and something unexpected was definitely how our group bonded. Like, even Mr. Moore said in that first meeting it was like the interest meeting, he thought like this is a weird group, and I think everybody was thinking that. Like, it was just a lot of people from different groups, and even the first day when we got there, we sat down and everybody was in their little cliques, like you could see the friend groups, but then Mr. Moore kind of pointed it out, and from there on out, we all sat together, and I learned so much about people I had never talked to before. I mean, Sam said he didn't even know as a person, which it's okay, Sam. But now I know a lot about Sam, and he's cool, and we had just had a good time.
I went to DC, and the week before at DC it was freezing, and like when we went, so many people were like, y'all chose a great week because it was great weather. It wasn't cold, it wasn't hot, but we were prepared for really cold weather, but it was great. So that was a great surprise, but also Miss Cologne gave me great roommates that would want to stay up and talk to me and Olivia all night long, which it was fun, and they were just great to be able to like talk more to people I normally wouldn't talk to as much.
Okay. I went to London and Paris, and one thing unexpected was the cheese bar, because it was a conveyor belt of cheese, and it was really cool.
That sounds amazing.
There was also a 4-story McDonald's in Paris.
Did you eat at it?
Yeah. We went. We
Was
ate
it good?
It was good. The
Okay.
fries weren't as good.
Sorry,
here
Taco Bell
as
people.
here, but
All
the
right.
chicken and stuff was there.
All right.
Was better.
Okay. Number 3. We'll start with you, Austin. What impacted you in your walk with Christ on this trip?
Just like seeing the different cultures in London and Paris, and like seeing different like places in God's creation.
Seeing all the detail and thought that God put into the Capitol, it was just like in my eyes, I was like, oh wow, like if He put so much detail and thought into all these buildings in just one city, how much detail and thought did He put into my life? And it was kind of comforting knowing like He put so much thought and effort into my life and my plan, along with like every single person He's created with a purpose, and just finding comfort in that on this trip was great.
Something that impacted me on my walk with Christ in Honduras was there's a lot of opportunities to talk to people and like hear about their testimonies, and even some of my classmates spoke, and just hearing other people's stories is really inspiring, and even like their bravery in sharing their stories helps me like with my own path. And God tells us that we need to worship together, and when you just have so many people around you with the same goal, you just learn a lot about God.
Something I think that God taught me through Outreach Gaston was that I don't have to go overseas for missions, but that they're like right here, like right on Franklin. We went to least of these Carolinas, and the ministry that they do there is just amazing. Like it's so centered on Jesus, and it's so crazy to see.
So in New York, something that impacted my walk with Christ was just like I said, the variety of languages and cultures, and like walking down the streets, like you would think like these people have nothing in common, but there was a verse in the back of my mind from Acts 4, and it's how the believers had all things in common. So like I could talk to any of these people, and like all that matters about us is that we both love Christ, and that's what struck me on my walk.
We've read a couple of chapters from John Piper's book, Don't Waste Your Life, and we discussed it, and it really hit me because we were looking at all these colleges and how we're going to live our future, and it's important that you put Christ in your future and keep Him with you through college.
What really impacted me in Florida was the beauty of the nature that God created for us. It's very diverse compared to what we see here in North Carolina in the Keys and like the blue water, and I just found that to be really amazing, like how He can create all kinds of different things throughout the world.
What really impacted me was how appreciative they were of things that we complain about and take for granted. You know, like you give them $1 and they all like freak out and act like it's the craziest thing ever, but you know, like we complain about classes and everything here.
Kind of what Mer said with the gratefulness that impacted me, but I was also impacted by just the people. They seemed to have a really strong faith, and even when they didn't have a lot or when things seemed to just be against them, they kept their faith and they just stayed steady in it.
Yeah, in Myrtle Beach, after we finished like the work that we did, I felt like super accomplished, and it really like encouraged me to continue doing that and continue putting forth my work to just serve God and stuff like that. So it was really nice.
So on the last day of Man Up, we did a service day and we did a food drive, and you know God calls us to serve, so it felt really, really good to do that because it was my first time doing something like that.
In Spain, there were like so many ways that I saw Christ on the trip, but one of the main ones was how centered their lives were around family and community. They were all so kind, and I just loved how close they were to their peers. And another thing was seeing the big architecture that was there, and the thing was like all the architecture, it was all churches and monasteries, and then there was this huge cross. It was so big,
and you can't even imagine it until you actually like see it in person, but they built it for Christ, and it just shows that how much he deserves. And yeah.
I would say Christ helped me on this trip by just making me be strong and giving me, and I would say everyone else that was on the trip, because I feel like each one of us went through different experiences on the trip. Some people struggled more than others, and I think at the end of it, we were just glad that we did something out of our comfort zone, and we had fun, and I would just say that God making me strong and getting me through the first couple of days.
I would say that like it was just like weird because like I was with a Muslim family, so they had like really different practices and like what we have like as Christians, but like even though they were like we both didn't have like the same religion, they still like treated me like I was part of their family. So I think that was just like that was really sweet of them, but also like it showed what I was grateful for. Like I was really grateful for the opportunity that God provided for like me and my friends to be able to like travel to like Europe and stuff just to like meet these wonderful people and like have such a special place in our heart for them.
I think that like Tatum said, the architecture. We went to this place on the first day, and there was like this giant church, and inside it was just like, it's like crazy to see what someone like builds to worship God. And then I would also say just meeting the other people through their walks of life and then like their faith.
For Spain, I definitely think the most impactful part was the relationships built, whether it was between us and our host families or just between us as a school. I think that getting to experience a different culture in a different country as a whole together really creates a bond that you can't separate, and getting to be able to experience life outside of GCS and outside of North Carolina, outside of the U.S., and over in Spain, getting to experience a day in their lives, it was truly impactful.
During job shadowing, you know, getting to know that these kids I was sitting in the class with needed help with like foundational stuff for the rest of their life, and getting to see when we sat down and we did a Bible story or we sat down and we read a verse, how we need to have childlike faith kind of back in our lives, because we get so caught up in thinking about college and high school and graduating, and we forget like to find the little joys in life. And getting to see them just take the Bible story or the verse and fully believe it and get like awe-inspired, it was truly like, it was a blessing to be there and witness it, because it gave me motivation to not think too much about like my faith in the sense of like it has to be this thing and I have to want it, and you do have to want it, but at one point just taking the verse in for itself and just fully getting your heart wrapped around it and loving God completely.
What impacted my walk with Christ on Gaston Outreach was probably just all of the service that we had done. I mean, Jesus calls us to serve and not to be served, and being able to serve, you know, was fulfilling that, and that was good.
Once again, I went on the Arizona trip. For a lot of my middle and high school career, I have struggled with like who I am as a person, and just going to Arizona and seeing the stars and the mountains and the canyons and the absolute breathtaking wonder that he creates, and it just occurred to me how much more beautiful does he make the ones that are made in his image.
I went on the trip to Charleston, and on this trip it was predominantly about churches. And so just seeing all these beautiful churches and the stained glass, it was just amazing to see these people who were so inspired by God to create these beautiful works to honor him. It was just really touching.
So I went to the alternative trip to Hawaii,
and God's creation really spoke to me there. The beauty of his creation and the order that it's in. And in that way, he also has like an order for your life because like how he made creation perfectly.
So for me was every night we would do a nightly session with Mr. Harley and Tom Parnell. And even though we'd be absolutely exhausted after fishing for over 4 or 8 hours sometimes during the day, the discussions we would have were truly amazing. The bond that we all were able to grow and experience and learn from each other's faith.
Okay, we don't have a ton of time left, so I'm assuming every one of you will raise your hand on this one, but how many of you would recommend this trip to anyone else? Yeah. All right. So before we go, there was a cool experience that I heard on one of the trips. I think it was Man Up. I can't remember, but they were going to go surf at a, I think they were passing out food at a, it was the Man Up group, wasn't it? Where they were supposed to pass out food, almost like, I think it was like 2,000 different trays of food to people throughout the day. Well, the normal group that shows up on a Thursday morning, it was about half of them. And so they were kind of upset because they weren't going to be able to do what they needed to do. And then rolls up a bus with 30 boys from Man Up to help them serve. And they said some of them got teary-eyed in the fact that like God provided service. And the boys did that for him, which is fantastic. All of you have different stories. I heard the DR trip that some of y'all were sharing your faith, first time ever maybe, which is really cool. Everybody has a different experience and things of this nature, but one of the things we all want to know, or we all want to realize, through these trips or just through experiences, is who we are in God's mind. And I think some of you guys put that into a fantastic picture, and that is, if he cares this much detail for this world, how much does he care for you, right? How much does he want that relationship with you? And I hope you guys grew in that. I hope you guys all grew in this experience. You know, education beyond the classroom is really important. There's a 99% chance that you will probably not remember unfortunately, Mr. Casper, the equation for photosynthesis, but there's a great possibility that you'll remember the trip that you went on, the impact that you made, and it made on you. Yeah. All right, let's pray. God, we love you. We thank you for these experiences. We thank you for the opportunity where we can share them with our friends and maybe even make new friends on these trips. God, I praise you more for how you were honored in the lives of our students and our teachers. Thank you again for bringing them all back safely. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. We are all finished.
Thanks, guys.